All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'm going to jump right into it. We're going to use FSD Beta to take a bit of a longer drive than we typically take to see how it fares with a combination of sort of city, urban driving, suburban driving, as well as highway driving, to put it all together and see what that looks like end to end, coming from a destination, going to a different destination. So I'll go ahead and put the car in gear. And then once this car passes, I'll initiate FSD and see how it goes. All right, so we'll jump right into it. I'll start now. And let's just put it all together, see what it looks like, see how it operates. Going from point A to point B, goes to the stop sign, creeps forward very nicely. So far, so good. Sun is kind of setting now. So gonna be very interested to see what happens in terms of areas where the sun might be obstructing the cameras potentially, or not. Good job so far. Tight street, lots of cars parked on the side. Always stop here, see what happens. I'm gonna give it the accelerator to let it go because it's our turn to go. It was gonna let this other car go. Not terrible, but you know, it probably would have erred on the side of caution, waited a little bit longer than I would have liked. Trying to stay centered here, really should again bias towards the left side of the lane, especially knowing that cars could be present coming up. Very strong glare here, as you might be able to see in the camera. Very, very far right as opposed to center. And now we got green light, so we go. Lots of glare. Once we have a hand on the wheel, I just give it some confirmation. Lots of glare, hard to see as a human, but it does use its superhuman cameras to kind of see this car coming up. And again, bias towards the yellow line here, which is pretty good. I'll go a little bit faster. People, pedestrians, and a dog does a good job of seeing that, recognizing it, slowing down. Excellent job, despite all the glare that you might be able to see. The camera might be doing a good job cleaning up the glare, but it's really, really bright. The sun is really glaring in that sort of sunset position. Always stop again. You arrive at the same time as this other car. Waiting for turn, and it takes the turn. It slows down a little bit, but then takes the turn. Okay, a little bit choppy. I'll go ahead and report that one. It's a little bit choppy. A little bit choppy there. Should have went, so the car had the turn signal on, but it sort of stopped anyway. Hard blind turn. Very hard to see. I want to keep my hand on the wheel because I know this turn very well. Okay, over the line, jumps back over the line. Nice and smooth and composed, which I like. So far, so good. Here's where it's going to get a little bit tricky, just because this median here kind of slows down a lot. And I know someone mentioned this in one of the comments that it slows down. It slows down initially, doesn't really know where it wants to go. I'm going to help guide it a little bit because we have a lot of traffic here. And then I'll boost it back up to 30 now. Just do 5 miles an hour over just because we have a lot of cars piling up behind us. So that particular juncture in the road is one that gets kind of tricky and kind of confuses FSD Beta a bit. And it starts to slow down a bit. It starts to not know how to take that particular turn. It does it, but very reluctantly. Again, just trying to stay in the center of the lane or sort of draw its own lane markings. This is where, again, I think the Tesla team could use to improve FSD Beta by just having it extrapolate its own lane markings. Even though there are none, it should just sort of draw its own based on the positioning of the car on the road and other cars. So the car behind us, we're probably just swerving. And again, these medians cause a little bit of problem. Not quite 15 miles an hour, more like 18. I'm going to give it some acceleration just to boost it up because people, again, are piling up behind us. And we don't want to be a problem for them. give me the message that I'm going a little bit faster than the set cruise speed. And again, it's just slowing down for these medians. It doesn't really know how to handle these in terms of just acknowledging them. Coming up to some speed bumps, this should be interesting. Slows down, but stays in basically the middle of the road, which I don't like. It should definitely be more biased towards this side of the road. But a good job of both slowing down for the speed bump, taking it at a good speed. No longer visualizing the speed bumps, which is interesting, or at least these. Now it sees a car coming, and now it's going to move over a little bit, which is kind of odd. It should always stay this side of the road. Now it sees other cars coming in advance and kind of biases more towards the right side of the road. A little bit fast on this one, for my taste. Way too center in the lane, and a very sharp turn coming up. See if it can take it. Complicated scenario, lots of cars coming. I'm going to allow it to do its thing. Good job waiting, and then it goes. So pretty good so far. Very sharp turn, very tough navigation scenario there. It did it, not without incident, but it did it. So again, just that teenage driver making that lane change automatically, getting into the right lane, which is great, nice and smooth. And overall, just a level of comfort that has not really been seen too much before. Obviously, we pointed out some of the earlier builds, 10.6.1 and 10.8 and 10.9 and such, that gave us levels of comfort. But right now, this is a really comfortable mode for FSD to be in, especially in scenarios like this where, good job slowing down, where the sun is glaring, sun is setting, therefore a lot of glare. And again, just generally, challenging traffic conditions that would be problematic, could be problematic for some people. Smooth braking, smooth steering so far. Nothing has made me feel uncomfortable thinking about it as a teenage driver. Nothing has made me feel uncomfortable whenever I needed to take over, except for the median scenario and the scenario right now where it doesn't quite seem to know what lane to be in. And I accidentally disengaged because I touched the yoke. I'll re-engage here and see what happens. But it's actually supposed to be in that lane because we're going to need to get on the highway soon. And so what's going to happen is going to make the left turn here. I'm going to give it an acceleration just to get it out of this, get it into the lane. It's not in the right lane right now. But it's going to make this left turn, and then it's going to try to get over to the next lane, which can be challenging, as opposed to staying in that lane, which it should have been in the first place. And here we are at a intersection where I think a bird's eye view could help. And I think they should denote the lane maneuver here. What lane you need to be in, it should be highlighted. And the lane that you're going to be in at the end of the maneuver, the turn, should be highly visible in a bird's eye capacity in this particular view. That's the most useful and helpful to the driver or the operator for intersections on FSD. Not necessarily this sort of drone perspective behind the car where we can see as much as we can see with our eyes in the visualization, which is not helpful. To extrapolate that into, maybe what Elon may refer to as vector space bird's eye would be more valuable, because now the car is showing me something that I can't see myself. And that's where it's most useful. And that gives me confidence that it knows where it's going. It knows what it's doing. It sees everything around it. All right, so now we'll go. Left turn here. Sun is glaring. I'll just keep my hands at the super extreme ready, because now it's going to hurry up and try to beat this car over here and get into this lane. And now you got a funky situation where it has to get over. Cars in its way, can't get over. It's speeding up actually, which is pretty cool, and very aggressively trying to get over. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now it's pretty interesting. Very aggressively trying to get over in that scenario. And this is on the average profile, not the assertive or aggressive profile. So that was pretty cool. Unnecessary, but cool nonetheless. And so now we transition from a sort of suburban road onto the actual highway. Higher speeds which means that things have to be reactive in a certain way. I know this isn't quite full stack, but still impressive nonetheless. Transitions now, or in a minute, we'll transition into city autopilot. It's gonna have to get over pretty soon because the lane cuts off and this truck is in the way. Let's see what happens. Come on and get over, get over, get over. Okay, nice and smooth. Even though it's at the last minute, I'll bump up to 65 because it changes to 65 up here. And now the graphics have changed, denoting that now we're on proper highway autopilot, which is a different code base effectively than traditional autopilot. I'll actually take over this lane change just because it gets kind of funky right here. I don't want to cause any problems there. Just initiate the lane change. So now we're on regular autopilot, which is cool. And this is the transition. The graphics change from the city streets version of FSD or autopilot to now the highway version of FSD/autopilot. And that's what the graphics denote. And it's doing a great job as always. Now, one of the funny things I love that people oversimplify and call autopilot adaptive cruise control with lane keeping assist, which is ridiculous. It's way more advanced than that, and people don't give it enough credit. They don't respect it enough. Lane keep assist helps you stay in your lane if you're drifting. That's lane keep assist. This is not lane keep assist. This is keeping me in my lane, following navigation guidance, making decisions on when it should make lane changes based on the guidance, based on traffic, based on speed, based on preferences. The adaptive cruise control part of it may be correct, but the oversimplification to say it's just adaptive cruise control with lane keep assist is just laughable. And I really wish people would stop making that assertion. Not true. It's not accurate representation. Again, I'm here doing my thing. Obviously, I'm going to give it some feedback because that's what's required. But other than me giving feedback, it's not, it's not a lane keep assist. I don't have to do much of anything else. Going against the setting sun, which can be challenging for cameras, for eyes in general. People would put the sort of visor down or put some sunglasses on to block that out. And the cameras here do a great job of managing that. Lane change, right? Let me give it some response so it does the lane change. That's not lane keep assist. Lane keep assist does not do that. It does not make a lane change like that. So let's not oversimplify things. Let's not discount Tesla's and their team's hard work and what they've come to market with to change the market. Now everybody wants to adopt this, everybody wants to copy it, everybody wants to steal it and make it their own. But again, just not lane keep assist with adaptive cruise control. That's not what it is. Oversimplification. But in general, this is great. This is a nice, smooth, comfortable ride to a destination with the car doing the majority of the heavy lifting and me doing some supervising, which is not a bad trade-off. Worth the money? It depends. Is it super valuable? Absolutely. Is it getting better over time very fast? Absolutely. This is an astonishment of cutting-edge technology, artificial intelligence working together in the market. Very sharp turn here, by the way, and doing it extremely well, might I add. I'll give it some more pressure once my confidence, because it knows how sharp this turn is, so it's asking me for some more confirmation here. Very sharp, slows down very, very smoothly, very comfortably. A little bit of a false warning there, not sure what that was. Sharp turn here on the exit. Okay, I got to confuse it a little bit. We'll mark that, tag that one. There we go. Getting into the appropriate lane. Nice little lane change there. A little bit of confusion right there, probably because of the point of where I reactivated it. It sort of had to acclimate itself. I'm not going to make excuses for it. I still reported it, but a little weird behavior there, as I sing its praises, of course. Coming to a stop sign at 48 miles an hour, slowing down using the regen very comfortably. I'm not flying out of my seat as this slows down and what seems to be pretty aggressive. So that's very impressive. So for here, if you're new to the channel, you're just tuning in, we're not measuring disengagements here. That's unrealistic. I've disengaged twice already. What we're measuring is ease of use and comfortability. How comfortable do I feel in the car as it's doing its thing? I'm going to disengage for any number of reasons, so I'm not really worried about that. Disengagements will come later. Speeding up, I'll just bump up the speed just a little bit here. People tend to drive a little bit faster on this road. Good job slowing down, precautious for this particular driver. And we're off. Sees this person turning. Will obviously slow down a little bit, but not too bad. It used to stop really hard for people making turns. Now it's stopping pretty well, human-like in terms of the level of comfort. Nice straightaway here. Again, slowing down gradually, but in combination with the regen to make it very, very smooth. My seatbelt isn't even tugging. It's slowing down that smoothly, which is great. Compared to other previous versions of FSD Beta where it was very aggressive, using more of the brakes than the regen, and yeah, sometimes the seatbelt would tug. Also does a good job of accelerating as well from a stop. Not as harsh as it used to be. Gets up to speed pretty good. A little bit on the overcautious side, especially if it passes an intersection sometimes, which is fine, still goes through. Wants to make this lane change, I'll let it. More of a tighter distance between these two cars. This car and that car still does a good job of controlling the deceleration to make it as comfortable as possible. Overall, just, it's astonishing to be in this car, looking around at all the other cars that are here, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Hyundai, whatever the case may be, and knowing that at this moment, you're in the most advanced, technologically advanced car on the road with capabilities that everyone else, doesn't have, or their manufacturers are struggling to keep up with, was definitely a good feeling to have, especially compared to back in the day when Teslas were so sparse and there were very few of them, and it was a big bet on the future. So definitely happy to be in this position that we're in right now. Definitely happy to be in a car like this. Everyone else on the road right now is driving by themselves, and here we are just relaxing, enjoying being driven and being an operator of a car and just sort of overseeing the operations versus having to do all the manual work. So definitely good, especially after a long day. It's been a long day, you're fatigued, your brain is fatigued, you don't want to spend so much time focusing on driving. Unless you do want to focus on driving. If you've been cooped up in the office or wherever, you want to go out and drive, go out and drive. I don't think autonomy is going to replace manual driving. I think it's going to be more of a standard from a safety perspective. But then when you want to drive, you just take the reins and you drive. It's not a problem, not a big deal. All those rocks were a big deal, especially in the Plaid that kick up a lot of rocks. So pardon my cringe. But definitely all-worthy, awe-inspiring. The fact that, again, everybody, he's driving, they're driving, the people behind us are driving manually, and that we're, again, able to enjoy this level of technological advancement is definitely a humbling, humbling and grateful experience. Come on. There's a little bit of a hard time here. A yield sign here. I'm gonna trust that it has my best interest in mind and knows when to go. Slows down a lot on that one. A little bit nervous. I kind of think the only sort of weak point here that Tesla needs to address with the cars and FSD is some type of perpendicular visibility that goes directly that way. Please make this light. Good job. Perpendicular visibility, maybe it's on the front fender, two cameras looking sort of left and right directly, just to give it more visibility to the left and right. I feel like the B-pillar cameras that they have here maybe aren't sufficient to see further down the road as a person would when they turn their head to the left and right and look down a road. I feel like that's the only area it needs improvement. That would help tremendously with navigating anywhere, pulling out of a parking spot, pulling out of a blind corner, a wider intersection, a more busy intersection. Emergency braking a little bit there. Still does a good job, and a good job keeping the distance. Very strong braking, a little bit of a tug on the seatbelt. Cresting this hill with the sunlight, and then the car pulling out in front of us just before we got to that one. So that wasn't terrible. Nice little lane change. So far, so good. But yeah, I feel like that's the only weak point, I think. I think that would solve a lot of issues with unprotected lefts, a lot of issues with some of the more dangerous and exotic turning scenarios or intersection scenarios that require you to really look ahead to see if cars are coming, or look to the left and right to see if cars are coming. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of the tech. We're almost at our destination. It's almost gotten us all the way there. We're on a highway-like road. Then we'll pull into a parking lot. I don't know how far in the lot it's gonna go. I know someone asked, how does it do on parking lots? It does okay if the parking lot is not as busy or not busy, or if it's well mapped. That's going to determine how the car reacts. If it's not well mapped, it doesn't know where it's going, it can't see a lot of the instructions on how to navigate that parking lot, it's not going to do great. just like a human. If there's, you can't see the signs, you can't see the lines, you can't see much of anything, then the person is not going to drive the way that they should inside of a parking lot. A little too far here. I don't know why it's going this way. Could have went the other way, and now it's going to change its mind, and now it changes back. All right, so it doesn't know where it wants to go. I will flag that one because it should know where it wants to go. And now it's trying to merge and get over several lanes. I don't know where it wants to go. It's doing too much. Now it wants to get over here. I'm gonna flag that too. Don't know what's happening. Let's see if it can time this right and go when it's supposed to go and not take us out. Creeping. Probably should have went already. Just gonna wait for everyone to go. I'm not mad at this decision. The decision to wait till all cars go before it goes. I'm not mad at that. Here we go. Good job. It's not perfect. It didn't say it was. Still a work in progress, as we all know. Makes mistakes, but not at the expense of someone else. So I'm glad that wasn't the case. I'm glad we didn't get into a situation. I'm glad no one else was disturbed by the maneuver it made. And that's generally been my experience. My experience, not everybody's experience. Wild maneuvers like that sometimes happen. Let me pull into the parking lot here. Let's see what happens. Can it make it? It can. Okay, false positive again. And we're in the parking lot. I'm gonna take over here. All right, so it got us here. At the end, it got a little bit wonky. I'm not gonna make excuses for it. It is what it is. I reported, I flagged it. These are a work in progress, things that still need to be addressed. But overall, it did a great job getting us a majority of the time of the way here by itself without an incident, without an issue. And that's really what we're looking for, is to alleviate the stress and pressure of having to do monotonous, boring drives and to be safe about it, okay? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. How did it do? What do you think about it? Is it good? Is it not good? Do you want to spend the money? Do you want to buy the subscription? Let us know in the comments, and until the next time, enjoy your day, enjoy your Tesla.